Good morning, friends and family all over the world. Thank you for connecting with me. Today, I want you to listen in on a live when the shift hits the fan. I know you thought I was going to say something else, but I promise when the shift hits the fan, you want to hear this. How do you deal with the pivots of life? How do you deal with the seasons as they change? Are you still in a new season with an old mindset, trying to change what will not change rather than you changing with the inevitable? I once heard it said, and I truly believe there is nothing more powerful than an idea whose time has come. This is for you. What to do when the shift hits the fan. Listen in.
You're watching Darrell J. Bennett live. I'm so excited to be with you, and I can't wait to help you live a higher, more prosperous, more powerful, and more purpose-filled life. Let me tell you about myself. I'm Darrell J. Bennett. I wrote my first book at 18 years old. I started my first company at 21, and I graduated from Harvard Law School at 24. I know how to help people move into another stratosphere of destiny, to operate at a higher level. And that's what I'm here to help you do. Your life is never going to be the same again.
I want to talk today about when the shift hits the fan. The shift is going to hit the fan. For some of you, it's already happened. And, you're rebuking it, and you're standing on scriptures, calling things that be not as though they were, and all of that stuff is nice. But the truth of the matter is, when the season has changed, the season has changed. And I'm telling you something that I've learned through experience, and something that I'm still reminding myself of. It's hard shifting seasons. I was the kid that, my mom and I still joke about this now. I was the kid that was wearing my winter coat in March, April, because I was still stuck on the seasons. And by the time I got good and ready and into the summer and all of my shorts, now it's time to go back to the winter clothes. And I found myself always spending some time in the new season wearing what I had in an old season. And I wonder if that's you. I'm not talking about clothes now. And I'm not talking about natural seasons. I'm talking about the seasons of life that we all go through, the ebbs and flows, the ups and downs, the times where we're in plenty and the times where we're in lack. That's what Paul was saying. We misquote that scripture when it says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. It was not a Superman scripture to just go out and jump out the window and do whatever you want. In fact, if you read the whole context, what he's saying is, I know how to be abound and I know how to be abased. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. What he was basically saying is, in any season, in any situation, in any circumstance, in any perspective, I know how to handle myself. Whether I'm on the mountaintop or I'm on the valley, whether checks are coming in from all angles or I'm having to piece stuff together to make sure that ends meet, I know that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I want to give you a word today about repositioning. I don't know who this is for, but this is a word of repositioning. This is a repositioning word. This isn't about you getting more than what you have. This isn't about you needing a new idea so much. This is about you needing a new perspective on what you already have. Don't you realize somebody will take your hand and win with it? Somebody will take what you threw down, what you've talked about, what you've dismissed, what you've said is not enough, and they'll multiply it. One of my favorite stories is the story of Levi Strauss. Many people know him for creating the Strauss jeans, the Levi jeans, Levi jeans, that became a global empire, and every jean company afterwards has him to thank for creating the prototype. But what a lot of people don't know is that that was not his original mindset. His original idea and mindset was coming to California, like many people did. He was an immigrant from Germany, Bavaria, Deutschland, and then he comes to America on the East Coast, and then he recognizes that there's a gold rush in California. So he does like most people do in the late 1840s. He comes to California to find gold, only to get there and realize he's a day late and a dollar short. And he has two options. He could stay there and go bankrupt. He could wallow in pity. He could do what some of us do and try to shake our fists at the sky or make things happen when maybe they're not meant to happen. But instead, what he did was he repositioned. And instead of trying to get gold out of the ground, he started selling to the people who were trying to get gold out of the ground. And he made his own gold. He made his own fortune. And he's one of the first people to have come to California during the gold rush to become a multimillionaire, and did it without ever getting any gold out of the ground. Do you get what I'm saying? So he came to the gold rush and became wealthy because he understood how to reposition. And the whole concept of the jeans was a utility concept. It was creating fabric that would allow people who were digging, who were in mines, who were in the ground, who were in the dirt, to be able to have clothes that wouldn't tear and rip. It wasn't about style. It was all about utility. Later, it became about style. And the concept of the jeans, which he perfected in California, specifically in San Francisco, and then in other regions surrounding that, which became a global staple, all came out of a man in a problem during a crisis who had to reposition. Who had to reposition. And I know I say a crisis. You say, well, it was a gold rush. Well, keep reading the history of California. They had a lot of struggles after that, because there was feast and then there was famine. Isn't that what happened in Egypt? When the wise Joseph told the Pharaoh, you're going to have 7 years of plenty, and it's nothing you can do to change it. And then you're going to have 7 years of famine, and there's nothing you can do to change it. And you can try to pray it away and rebuke it away and seance it away and talk about it away and manifest it away. It's not going anywhere, because it has already been done. It's already been concluded. And the fact that you had the dream twice means that it's settled in heaven. So it shall be on earth. And my word for you today is, will you reposition? Will you reposition? I'm not saying don't pray that God would open the door. I'm not saying don't go after what was lost. I'm not saying don't fight for what was lost. But what I am saying is, you've got to learn how to reposition. That's my word for you today. So maybe the business idea that you had is not going to be tenable in this market. That doesn't mean you don't start to talk to other partners, start to create a different blueprint, get around people who can help you turn that thing around. Now, I told you about Levi Strauss. He created a multi-billion-dollar empire from repositioning, but then there's people who never reposition. That was the story of Blockbusters. They thought everybody was going to keep going in them rinky-dink stores and looking for video cassettes on Saturdays and Fridays and whenever else you went. And we're going to rent them and keep coming back and do that forever. And they had an opportunity to buy into streaming. Reed Hastings, who created Netflix, went to Blockbuster first with the idea. Blockbuster said, who's going to, what? Streaming who? Do you know who we are? Do you know how great we are? We're a multi-billion-dollar company. And who are you? And today, Reed Hastings is on top of the streaming empire, and Blockbuster is a thing of the past because they didn't reposition. Kodak is the same thing. For those of you that, I'm 38, so if you're in my generation, you remember when we would take the little film out of the camera and you have to go to the supermarket or the pharmacy and wait for them to process it. That was what a selfie looked like. You didn't know what it was going to be till 3-4 days later. And Kodak had the market on cameras. And there was someone that came to them and said, well, why don't you think about digital technology? They were like, nobody's going to do that. A few people will do it. That's for the niche. That's for people that are really into photography. This is what their leadership said. But the vast majority of people, they want their film on negatives. Whoever made that decision is looking real crazy now, because Kodak went from having, listen to this, 80% of the market in cameras to today, they have less than 5%. Nobody even checking for Kodak anymore because they refuse to reposition. And this is where I'm going to get off with you today. What in your life is not working because you refuse to reposition? Because you refuse to shift. And the shift has hit the fan. Look at the world. Look at how much has changed. And don't be down on yourself. There are people who have done extremely well in the past who are struggling with this now. I'm talking CEOs of companies, and I'm having conversations with them. They still struggling with the fact that they can't get 100% of their workforce to come in 9 to 5 on Friday, Monday through Friday. I said, I don't think that day is ever coming back. Sorry. What's the man who said there's nothing more powerful than an idea whose time has come? When the time has come for an idea, it's nothing you can do. It's here. It's a shift. Digital currency is another shift. I'm trying to tell you. AI is another shift. I hear people say AI is taking jobs. AI is going to take a lot of jobs, but it's also going to create a lot of them. And what are you going to do? You're going to try to complain about that and rebuke that away rather than recognizing what's happening and get in place? You know, I don't play football. I mean, you can see my size and see I don't play football, but I've played it in the past, and I know, and I watched it a couple times, and I know enough to know that the guy that's going to get the ball, I'm not talking about the quarterback, because I know he's the one who throws it. I know at least that much. But the one who's going to catch the ball, he is running to get into position before the ball is thrown. Are you in position? You asking God to throw you the ball, but you're not even in position. You're not even there. You're not even in position. Some of you are still trying to revive an industry that's gone. It's dead. It's finished. It's like Blockbuster. It's, we say in German, it's kaput. All right? It's done. And I want to help you to go into a prosperous 2024 shift. When the shift hits the fan, you need to pivot. This is the last thing that I'm going to say. I had a scooter for a little while here in New York. I had a scooter, you know, them things you see people, not a motorcycle, but the scooter you see people riding around with. And I loved my scooter, but somebody took my scooter. And before they took it, a car hit me on the scooter and I fell out in the middle of the street. God was with me. I was more shaken up than anything. The bike was destroyed, but I jumped right back up. So between me getting hit by the car and then it being taken, I just took that as a sign. I don't need to be on it. But this is the reason I'm bringing it up, because I really like that scooter. It gave me, I mean, a car, you know, we love cars, but you know, car, you got to park, you got to do this. Scooter, you can go anywhere. You go to sidewalks, all that. But anyway, this is what I want to say about the scooter. It wasn't when I was on the straightaways, particularly when somebody was riding with me, that I would run into problems. It was at the turns. And when I was on the turn, and a lot of people, when they get into accidents on those things, they're not getting on accidents on the straightaway. It's the turn. It's not being able to judge the turn, either how fast they're going or how sharp the turn is. And you've got to know in life when it's a turn. When it's a turn. When an industry has gone away. For every door that's closed, there's a door that's opened. For every industry that's gone away, there's more industries that are coming up in its place. For every job that we're lamenting over that we say nobody's doing anymore, there's more jobs being created. So my question is, when the shift hits the fan, are you more focused on what left or what's here? Are you more focused on what went away and how last year was and what was before the pandemic? Well, it was a lot of things different before the pandemic. A lot of things that may never go back to the way they were before. How do you handle it when the shift hits the fan? Stay encouraged, y'all. Stay tuned in because I have much more that I want to share with you. I love you. Peace.